going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to share my silver stacking story. This video is going to be much more lengthy than my regular videos, so if you don't know a whole lot about silver, I recommend checking out almost any other video I have posted on this channel. They're more directed to be covering specific topics under the umbrella of silver. This one's going to be a little bit of everything. Really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for weekly videos. And if you want to help support the channel by getting some DYDSS merchandise, we got a bunch of precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies which are up for grabs, and of course a ton of other products, and many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. But today I wanted to run through everything, A through Z. So I first discovered silver probably about 5 years ago. I reconnected with an old friend of mine, someone I'd known since the first grade. We lost contact because he moved, and then we found each other on probably Facebook or something like that, and we started talking about, real life things, work, money, stuff like that, and we ended up meeting up, hanging out for the day, me, him, and a couple of the other people that we went to school with when we were younger. And I told him everything that I had been doing, the jobs that I was working on, the projects that I was working on, the businesses that I was working on. And he told me that he's not necessarily doing anything out of the ordinary to make money. He's not doing anything extreme like starting multiple businesses or working on any type of miscellaneous project. But he was doing something to save money. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm stacking silver." I responded by saying, "You're what? What in the world does that mean? What is that code for?" And he was like, "No, every time I get my paycheck, I go over to a coin shop and I pick up at least an ounce or two of silver." And I was like, "Why? Why would you do that? Why don't you just put it in the bank?" And he said, "Well, because if I kept my money in the form of dollars, I don't believe it's all that healthy for my finances, because the dollar bill seems to be kind of on its last leg if you think of it like that. And I convert my dollars into silver." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird, kind of interesting, kind of cool, kind of strange. How much silver do you have?" And I don't remember exactly how much silver he had at the time, so I'll just use an arbitrary number, 500 ounces. So he tells me about 500 ounces. And I was like, "Cool. How much money is that?" And he was like, "It's 500 ounces. I was like, "Well, how much is that in dollars?" And he was like, "I don't know. I don't really worry too much about the dollar. I measure my wealth in ounces, not dollars." I thought this concept was fascinating. It intrigued me. I was very, very interested in it. However, I unfortunately did not start stacking right away. Like I said, this was about 5 years ago. It wasn't until the end of December of 2017 that I actually decided to start stacking. Now that whole month, December of 2017, for some strange reason I thought about, I was like, Steven told me about silver 2-3 years ago. Let me do a little bit of research on it since I've been thinking about it. So I came across a couple channels. Some of the most notable ones, Sal and OverTaxed. Those are the two biggest channels that I learned the most from. Now there's a lot of silver stacking channels out there, but those are the two that I can say that I got the most value from. Sal being one who built up his channel primarily by talking about silver, but he also talks about miscellaneous other types of metals, other precious metals, industrial metals, platinum, palladium, rhodium, gold, copper. And he has a very interesting style because he's almost like the kind of teacher that you had in high school, or maybe a college professor that was a little bit different than the other ones because they have a fun or entertaining way of teaching their material. That's the vibe I got from Sal. And then as for OverTaxed, he's a little bit more aggressive. He's a little bit more, this is how it is. And personally, that resonates with me because those are the type of teachers in high school and the college professors that I've had that I was able to learn the most from. And he built up his channel by talking about silver primarily as well, but he also talks about miscellaneous topics like prepping, politics from time to time. And both channels taught me a lot, and both channels are really the only two channels that I paid much attention to throughout the course of December of 2017, until I decided for myself, I'm actually going to get started. Spot price at the time was about $17 and change, $17.02 I believe it was, and I went over to a coin shop after bouncing around from different site to site online, AppMex, JM Bullion, SD Bullion, Provident Metals, Monument Metals. I went through a ton of different websites, all of the most popular online precious metal dealer storefronts, and they all had their pros and their cons. Maybe this site over here was the best if you wanted to get 5 10-ounce sunshine bars. Maybe that site over there is better if you want to get Canadian maple leafs. Maybe this site over here is better for the junk silver. That site over there is better for fractional gold. Depends on what you're looking for. Every site has their pros and their cons, but they all had one thing in common. $100 for free shipping. Now at the time, being that I was not a stacker yet, I understood the concept of stacking. I knew what silver was, but I wasn't very educated. I knew very, very little. And at the time, because I was ignorant, I valued my $100 more than I valued 5 ounces of silver. So I said, this is something that I want to do, but I don't want to throw $100 into it. So I went on over to a coin shop instead, and I picked up 1 ounce of silver. That's all I needed. That's what got this whole thing started. Because for the very first time in my life, I was able to hold real money in my hands. I'd never experienced that before because up until that day, I was used to fiat, I was used to currency, I was used to the dollar bill, which I refer to as the glorified IOU dollar. For those of you who do not know, the dollar bill was invented initially to be an IOU. So my whole life I was working for IOUs. I was working for fiat, I was working for currency, I was working for paper. And when I picked up that little 1 ounce silver round, which at the time, once again, I was ignorant, I ran around telling people it was a coin because I didn't know the difference between a round and a coin. Come to find out that the main difference between a round and a coin is coins are minted by sovereign governments. They have face value. Rounds are just circular pieces of silver. It's a circular shaped bar, and a bar is a rectangular shaped round. There's no difference between rounds and bars other than the shape. A coin, on the other hand, has a higher level of notoriety, typically carries a higher premium. But when I first started, at the time, I was saying to myself, well, I kind of want to stack silver, but I also want to save money. I know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, I mostly stuck to rounds due to the lower premium. At the time, I wanted to get as much silver content for the smallest dollar amount possible, which I still do. That's still a goal of mine. But at the time, it was strictly rounds. Got some rounds with eagles on them, some snakes, some buffaloes, some miscellaneous ones. I would get random designs. I would get Morgan Dollar themed rounds. I would get all different types of rounds. I would get Santa Claus rounds. They were all random. I never knew what I was going to get, and that was probably my favorite part. It was always a surprise. After a couple months of stacking rounds, I said to myself, I want a little bit more than just silver, even though I barely had any silver at the time. I think I only had maybe like 20 rounds or less. I was like, I want to get a little teeny tiny piece of gold, like the smallest piece of gold that I can get. And I also want to get something else. So I went on to AppMex, I believe it was, and I put in my shopping cart, I don't know, 1 or 2 ounces of silver, a 1 gram gold bar, and a copper round. And I placed my order. It arrived, and now I will never say that this was a horrible decision. It's not a bad idea. Gold is still gold at the end of the day. But at the time, I didn't realize that the smaller the denomination of the metal, the higher the premium is going to be. So I decided that I'm never going to get a 1 gram gold bar ever again. Next time I get gold, it'll be at least 1/10 of an ounce of gold. So then I went back to stacking silver. Nothing but rounds for a little while, and then another month or 2 goes by, and I decided, I was like, you know what? I think I want to go with coins. Coins, they have a higher level of notoriety. They're more trusted. They're more respected. Sure, you can test the silver, of course, but in a situation, you might not have the time. You might not have the resources or whatever. If and when the day comes to sell, somebody might be like, "Oh, I don't think that's actually silver," when it actually is, but they're the buyer, not me. They might prefer a coin, something that they can trust a little more. So I started going with coins. Silver eagles, because I live in the greatest country on the planet, America, and I believe that the foundation of my stack should be the coin of my country, which is the silver eagle. Not to mention, it's the most recognizable silver coin that there is, pure silver coin. Coming in close second would be the Canadian silver maple leaf. So I stacked those as well. Quite a bit of them. So in my first, 6 months, I'd acquired a decent amount of silver. About half rounds, half coins. A little teeny tiny piece of gold, and an ounce of copper. But I wanted to stick with silver, so that's exactly what I did. So I spent the entire rest of the year, I went another 6 months of stacking silver. Now the cool thing about stacking silver at the very exact specific time that I started stacking silver, like I said, when I started it was about $17 and change. For the first time I converted my dollars into silver. Second time I did it, it was like $16.45. The third time I did it, it was about $16.15. The next time it was $16. The next time it was $15.80. Just arbitrary numbers, but point being, it was going down. The more I learned about silver, the easier it became for me to acquire, because the price was dropping. I can get more for less. So in the summer of 2018, I went crazy with the silver. I was converting my dollars into silver sometimes 4 times in like a week and a half. I remember I did like 4 silver unboxing videos in like 10 days. And they were primarily silver eagles, Canadian maple leafs, and occasionally a round or 2. But that summer was the last time I picked up any rounds on my own. I've been getting nothing but coins since then. And I continued to stack, and I remember I wanted to hit 100 ounces of silver, and I did that. I was making videos documenting the whole thing, the whole process. Every time I learned something new, I'd make a video about it. And back then, I wasn't even really a silver stacking YouTube channel. I was making vlogs. I'd be that moron running around with a camera all day, filming my daily life. And something that I'd noticed is that the silver videos were far more fun to make. They were more mentally stimulating. I felt as though I was actually learning something and teaching something by making the videos, and they were much more enjoyable than the vlogs. And also, I was comparing the views. I was like, okay, they're not just more enjoyable for me to make, but they're more enjoyable for people to watch as well, because for every one view I would have on the vlog, I would have maybe 10 to 30 views on a silver video. So 10 to 30 times more people were enjoying those as opposed to the vlogs, which were getting kind of boring and stale anyway. That's right around the time that I quit the vlogs altogether and started making silver videos every single day, with the occasional gold video, the occasional platinum video, the occasional palladium video, maybe some prepping videos from time to time, or something talking about copper, or even the dollar bill, or even something else under the umbrella of money. That became my focus. It's what made the most sense to me, and I haven't gotten too many complaints. However, this is YouTube, and everyone's a tough guy when they're hiding behind a little secret name and a picture of a piece of silver instead of a picture of their face. But the overwhelming majority of the feedback that I've gotten, 96% positive over the last 2 years and 2 weeks, because that's how long I've been stacking for, give or take. And I've learned a lot. But it wasn't until the end of 2018, little over a year ago, right as I was hitting that 1 year of stacking, my first stackiversary, everyone was talking about junk silver, 90% silver, constitutional silver, and at the time I was like, I understand, but it's kind of boring. If I were to pick up some silver quarters, I'm going to feel as though I'm just holding on to some loose change. Not enthusiastic about it. Doesn't excite me. But I decided to myself, you know what? Diversification is important. It's significant, for me at least, in my opinion and from my perspective. Not to say that I'm a financial advisor by any means, and nothing on my channel should ever be taken as financial advice. That's something that I decided to do for myself. Because I did a little bit of research on junk silver, 90% constitutional silver. And to this day, I'm still not enthusiastic about it. I do not enjoy it. I do not get excited about it. But I understand the importance. Or I started to understand the importance in December of 2018. I found out and I learned that junk 90% constitutional silver, it's essentially fractional silver coins with a low premium. Of course, you can get fractional pure silver, rounds and bars, but those carry wild premiums. And I knew that I wasn't really interested in converting my dollars into silver in that way, because I did the math. You could pick up an ounce of silver for what? $20 or less, including the premium. If I were to get 10 1/10 of an ounce silver rounds or bars, not only would that cost me almost twice as much dollars, twice as many dollars, but that's basic generic secondary market silver. Low notoriety, not a whole lot of trust, not a whole lot of respect. People might not recognize it, as opposed to a silver eagle, or really any coin for that matter. So the way I saw it was that 90%, even though it's not pure silver, and I'm a 3/9 fine, a 4/9 fine kind of guy, like I said, I'm not overly enthusiastic about 90%. I understand the importance because in order to equate to an ounce of silver, it would take roughly 3 silver half dollars, 6 silver quarters, or 14 silver dimes. And of course you can mix and match it up a little bit if you do the math right. So I thought to myself, well, in a strange way, let's just say silver went to $100 an ounce. I don't know or necessarily believe that's going to happen, but just for the sake of a hypothetical conversation, let's just say silver jumps to $100 an ounce. Somebody might not have $100 to fork over. And an ounce of silver, that's a pretty small denomination of silver. You know, it's not like I'm walking around with a kilo bar. I'm not walking around with a 100-ounce bar, big cinder block of silver, trying to get cash for it. It's a little coin. But if it's $100, it may or may not be kind of difficult. Not to say $100 is a whole lot of money, but just for the sake of the conversation. Where 90% junk constitutional silver can come in handy is you can use those to quote-unquote break an ounce or quote-unquote make change for an ounce. Because like I said, you could break an ounce up 14 different ways with 14 silver dimes, or 6 different ways with 6 silver quarters, or 3 different ways with 3 silver half dollars. Or you can mix and match it up. So I started to understand the importance, but I still wasn't overly enthusiastic about it, but I knew that it's something that I should probably include as part of the stack, as a decent part of the stack. So I said to myself at the very end of 2018 that moving forward into 2019, I'm making it a goal for myself. I'm making it my New Year's resolution to include at least $1 face value in every single order I place online. Every time I pick up some new silver, whether it's only once a month on a bad month or 2, 3, 4 times a month on a good month, I want to include at least $1 face value, whether it's 2 half dollars, 4 quarters, or 10 dimes. $1 face value every order I place. Every time I convert my dollars into silver, I want a little bit of junk silver included. That's what I did. All 12 months. Once a month on a bad month. 2, 3, maybe 4 times a month on a good month. And I stocked up on pretty decent amount of junk silver. I wouldn't say it's overly impressive, because like I said, it was usually only $1 face value per order. But hey, silver's silver. It's better than the guy out there who's not stacking at all. And like I said, I'm a pure silver kind of guy. But I believe in diversification, and I understand the significance. Now, speaking of the importance of diversification, also in 2019, in addition to the junk silver, I wanted to diversify by getting a little bit more gold. I did not have a lot of gold. All I had was that one little gram bar. I still don't have all that much gold in the grand scheme of things. If I'm going to be honest, I don't even have that much silver in the grand scheme of things. But I decided that I wanted to stack more gold. Now, I'm the kind of guy who prefers precious metals in smaller denominations. Not necessarily for the price tag, but more so because I'd rather have multiple transactions. I'm not really interested in walking around with a 50-ounce silver bar. I would rather have 50 1-ounce silver bars or coins or rounds. So aside from silver, I could say the same about gold. For me personally, now it has its pros and its cons. Fractional gold as opposed to an ounce of gold. The larger the denomination, the lower the premium is going to be. But gold right now is like $1,500. I'm not comfortable walking around with something in my pocket worth $1,500. I would rather walk around with something in my pocket that's worth $150. Not to say that I go to Target with ounces of silver in my pocket or anything like that, or silver coins or gold bars or anything in my pocket, but I decided that I want to get gold in smaller denominations. So I started getting 1/10 of an ounce gold coins, and being that I live in America, the greatest country on the planet, I decided to go with fractional gold eagles, 1/10 of an ounce eagles. So that's what I started with. And one of my subscribers, or one of my viewers, somebody who watches my videos, was actually kind enough to send me a 1/10 of an ounce gold eagle. I still have no idea who sent it to me. They sent it completely anonymously. I've talked about it several times in the past. No one has stood up and said it was me, not a single person, so I have no idea who sent me this 10th ounce gold eagle, but I'm grateful, thankful, and appreciative, so thank you. There have been plenty of people who have sent me silver as well. I've gotten all types of cool presents sent to my P.O. box, which I don't encourage, by the way. I don't encourage anyone to send me money or coins or anything like that. I encourage people to send letters. I love handwritten letters. But from time to time, somebody will send me a cool little coin or something. So everybody who has ever sent me something, I'm thankful. I appreciate it. But then I decided for myself that since the gold eagle isn't necessarily pure gold, I think I'd rather stick to pure gold rather than something that contains 1/10 of an ounce or 1/4 ounce, a 1/2 ounce, a full ounce of pure gold, but has other metals mixed into it. Many people don't know that. I've had people try to argue with me over it. The gold American Eagle is not a pure gold coin. No denomination, 1/10 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce. They are not pure gold. If it's a 1 ounce coin, it contains an ounce of pure gold, but it weighs a little bit more than an ounce because other metals are mixed into it. Copper, for example. Because the US Mint, for whatever reason, wanted it to be more durable, since gold is technically a softer or more flexible metal than silver is. They wanted it to be a little bit more sturdy. They wanted to prevent scratches and whatnot. But the gold buffalo, on the other hand, that is a pure gold coin. So if the US Mint makes one $50 face value coin pure gold and the other $50 face value coin, why is one pure gold and the other one isn't? I personally disagree with that, and I hope that the US Mint from here on out or sometime in the future starts to make gold American Eagles pure gold, because as soon as I do that, I'll start stacking gold eagles again. But from here on out, I want to mostly stick to gold maple leafs. The maple leaf is my favorite looking coin. I'm attracted to anything with nature, any, leaves, the maple leaf, or any type of animal. So I've always been a huge fan of silver and gold maple leafs. But since I'm not a massive gold stacker, I guess the foundation of my gold stack is going to be Canadian gold, and the foundation of my silver stack is going to be American silver. At the end of the day, silver, and gold is gold, so it's not really anything that should be argued about. There should be no World War III over which coin is better per se, because silver, silver, and gold is gold, but everyone has their preferences, and I guess those are mine. And something that I decided that I wanted to do for myself, more so for fun than anything else, although I'm kind of leaning away from that now, and I haven't started yet, so I don't necessarily need to quit because I never got started, but I said that I thought it would be kind of cool to get a 1/10 of an ounce gold coin from everywhere, or at least the recognizable coins, maybe a 1/10 ounce Britannia, a 1/10 ounce Kookaburra, a 1/10 ounce Libertad, a 1/10 ounce Panda. I thought it would be kind of cool to do something like that. A Philharmonic, you know what I mean? Little bit of gold from a lot of different places. I just thought it would be interesting. I just thought it would be a cool little quote-unquote collection. Not to say that it's really much of a collection, but I thought it would be kind of fun. I thought it would be kind of interesting. So who knows? I haven't made up my mind yet, but all I know is that I'm going to continue stacking as much silver as I can. And the way I see it, in my opinion and from my perspective, again, not a financial advisor, so nothing on my channel should ever be taken as financial advice. But in my opinion, when it comes to silver or gold, I lean heavily towards silver because the way I see it, in my opinion, silver is the opportunity metal. Right now, $18 and change an ounce. I don't want to say it's an all-time low because it's not, but dirt cheap in my opinion. It's an opportunity in my opinion. It has the most room to grow and perform over time. I don't necessarily want to say that's my opinion because I believe that's a fact. Silver has gone up to $30, $35, $40, $45, $50 in the past. Metaphorically speaking, if it happened yesterday, it could happen again tomorrow. So if it were to jump up to, let's just say $40 from where it's at right now, that's more than doubling in value, which it's already done, so we already know it's possible. Silver has the possibility of doing that again. Gold, on the other hand, what's it right now? $1,500 an ounce? In order for it to double in value, it would need to go up to $3,000 an ounce, or above, technically. Is that possible? Yeah, anything's possible. Is it likely? In my opinion, no. I don't think it's going to happen, or at least not anytime in the near future. I don't foresee it happening. It could. And I understand the importance of diversification, which is why I stack gold as well, but the main reason I stack gold is because, once again, in my opinion and from my perspective, silver's the opportunity metal, but gold is the powerhouse metal. Gold is the ultimate form of wealth preservation. Now, silver and gold, they're both money. Don't get me wrong. They've been money for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Goes back to biblical times. Silver and gold are mentioned in the Bible. Silver and gold were talked about and used and written about since before the dollar bill was even a concept. Since before that glorified paper IOU fiat currency dollar, that man-made invention, was even a concept. Silver and gold was money. Silver and gold still is money. Silver and gold are both worldwide recognized as money. Which is one of my favorite things about precious metals, to be honest. And in addition to all of that, something that stacking has taught me is, I guess you can say, the power of patience, or I don't know if I'm wording that correctly, but little by little, add into the stack. Everybody starts out with, a coin or two or a handful of silver, gold, whatever. Everyone starts out with a little bit. Then soon enough, that little bit will turn into a pile of silver and gold, and that's probably where we're all at right now. And I think the ultimate goal for most of us is to one day allow that little pile or large pile of silver and gold to become a mountain of silver and gold. I think that's something that we all would like. I think that's something that we all would want. And every week or every month or every other month, even if it's just a couple times a year, if you're adding to the stack, at the end of the day, you're going to see progress. And if there's one thing I've learned throughout the course of my life, is that slow progress is better than no progress. 110%. So even if there's someone out there who's not stacking a whole lot because maybe they're in a different financial situation, maybe they don't make a whole lot of dollars, maybe their monthly expenses are higher than ours or whatever, and they can only get maybe 1 or 2 ounces a month, which I've gotten comments from people in the past saying, hey, I can only get 1 or 2 ounces a month. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm just letting the average Joe out there know, whether you can get an ounce a month or an ounce a year or 1,000 ounces a week, whatever the case may be, no matter how much silver you're getting, no matter how much gold you're getting, even if it's 1 ounce, that is 1 ounce more than the average person out there. And you want to know what else? The average person out there has less than $500 in savings. It was a Forbes article a couple years back. Like 65% or something like that, roughly 65% of Americans can't even afford a $500 emergency. That goes for a medical expense. That goes for a car repair. That goes for anything. Don't even have $500. Now, like I said towards the very beginning of the video, something that my friend Steven taught me is to not measure your wealth in dollars, but to measure it in ounces instead. But for the sake of the conversation, I'm going to be a hypocrite and say that if you have $500 worth of silver, you're already far, far, far beyond, more prepared than the average person out there. Because guess what? You'll have $500 worth of silver. They won't even have $500 of dollars. So keep that at the back of your mind. Don't forget that. Always remember that. By stacking silver or gold or dollars or all three, you know what we're doing? We're not just preserving our wealth. We're not just saving our money. We're financially preparing ourselves for if something were to happen. Now, a lot of people have different ideas. A lot of people have different theories. A lot of people have different possibilities, or whatever the word is. Some people think that the dollar bill is going to collapse any day now, and that by stacking silver and gold, it's the only way to survive. That's personally not my way of thinking. Some people are stacking silver and gold so that they can pass it down to their children or their grandchildren. Once again, for me, not the case. I don't have kids, not that I know of. And I don't plan on having kids, which means I don't plan on having grandkids either. Because I think you need kids in order to have grandkids. That's what I've been told. Other people might feel like it's just something where you can actually, you actually sleep at night knowing that you are maybe not fully 100% prepared, but you're far more prepared than you would be without it. That's how I see it. Silver and gold. Now, even if something bad were to happen, I can't really see myself selling the silver and gold so that I can afford X, Y, and Z. I don't really plan on doing that. I mean, first and foremost, I don't plan on any, financial emergencies coming up anyway. I would hope that that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But even if something were to happen, I can't see myself selling off a portion of my stack to help myself out. I would do everything in my power to not do that. But at least at the end of the day, I know that my silver is there for me if I need it. That's the most important thing. I'm taking care of my silver so that maybe one day, if something were to happen, my silver can take care of me. Now, the ultimate goal is to stack little by little by little by little throughout the course of my life so that I can supplement my retirement. It's just a savings account, except it's a physical at-home savings account rather than using the bank to save money. But if something were to happen, and by something happening, I don't necessarily mean any SHTF crazy situation. I don't mean the dollar collapse. Yeah, I'm prepping, but it's more so prepping for my own personal financial hardships. So yeah, I'm stacking the food. Yeah, I'm stacking the water. Yeah, I'm stacking everything that I might need to spend my money on. If my source of income were to be taken away from me, I won't need to spend any money because I will already have the things that I would need to spend my money on. See, you don't have to worry about, oh no, I can't afford to go to the grocery store when you have a miniature grocery store stocked up in your house. Same goes for the water supply. Same goes for the medical supplies, the first aid equipment. Same goes for all of the tools and things that you may or may not need. Same goes for the money. I sleep very good at night, knowing that I may not be necessarily prepared, but I'm far more prepared now than I would be without any of the things that I have. So hopefully this video resonates with people. Hopefully this video maybe opens some eyes. I've never done a video like this before. We're over 40 minutes long. All my videos are like 10 minutes long. I've never sat and talked this long before unless it was a live stream, but I thought I would try something a little bit different. I thought I would kind of share my silver stacking story A through Z, and hopefully it's a little bit of an eye-opener since I kind of meshed everything into one big video. If anybody actually watched the whole thing through, maybe, just maybe, this video was able to open some eyes or maybe spark a little bit of a conversation. Most people know that if there's one thing that I encourage, it's to leave a comment on videos. I read every single one of them. I try my best to respond to them all, but sometimes I get hundreds, sometimes thousands of comments in a week, so it could be kind of difficult, but I try. And I'm a big believer in the fact that if we're not talking about it, we're not learning about it. And I try to maintain the mentality and the mindset where I set out to teach those who are willing to learn and learn from those who are willing to teach. Everybody can bring something different to the table. We can bounce ideas off of each other. And as a community, or as a family, we can all benefit, we can all thrive, and I think that's probably one of my favorite things about my YouTube channel. So with all of that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. Maybe take one thing that I said throughout the course of this video and let me know in the comments, hey, this specific thing that you said stood out the most to me, or I agree with you when you said this, or I disagree with you when you said that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, along with how long you've been stacking for, why you're stacking, what you plan on doing with your stack long term. Let's talk anything and everything related to silver, gold, other precious metals in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe. New videos every single day, 365 days a year. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Got a bunch of videos over there, all things money. The link will be in the description, and we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so I'd appreciate your help. And if you want to help support the channel in the biggest possible way, please consider getting yourself some DYDSS merchandise. Of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies which are up for grabs, but we have a ton of other products as well, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, and many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. And once again, please, head on down to the comments and let me know, what was one thing in today's video that stood out to you the most? What's something that I said in today's video that you especially agree with, or maybe something that you disagree with? And of course, how long have you been stacking for? You don't have to tell me how many ounces you're up to. That's something that I personally choose not to share. But how long have you been stacking for? What do you stack? Silver, gold? Is it about 50-50? Do you prefer one over the other? Do you avoid one altogether for whatever reason? Let's talk about everything and anything under the sun related to precious metals, money, and wealth preservation. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.